Now that you know you're pregnant, I bet you have so many questions in your mind. You're asking, which hospital should I use? You're also asking, when will I start antenatal? And then you're asking, will I have a baby boy or a baby girl? Don't worry, with time you will have answers to these questions. Thank you for joining me today on the Motherhood Vlog. I am Perpetua Fasanmi-Peter. Welcome to the Motherhood Vlog. If this is your very first time, thank you. You are welcome. Please subscribe to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you. Well, if you've been here but you've never subscribed, hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe now. Thank you. Okay, so I'll attempt just one of the questions, which is the very first one. Which hospital should I settle for? For me, I settled for a hospital after rejecting or turning down 3. Now, the first one, I told you what happened. My husband was not comfortable with their lack of professionalism. He wasn't comfortable with the way the doctor treated me for malaria. When I was pregnant, he didn't even know. That's by the way. Now for the second one, it wasn't covered by my HMO. It wasn't on my HMO network. And then the third one also was not on my HMO network. So I had to let go of them. Now this is what my husband did before we finally settled for. Don't mind me, it's the hair, Let me just try to. Okay. I think this is good now. So I'm not having something on my face. We're good. All right. Now, before we made the final choice, first my husband needed to know the hospitals that were listed on the HMO network, and then apart from that, he also did a review. We did this top 10 hospitals in Lagos, and there was this particular hospital that was usually between 1 to 3 and 1 to 5, and so somehow we decided to settle for it, especially because it was covered by my HMO and it wasn't too far from where I stay, so we had to settle for that one. So for you, in choosing a hospital, these are some of the things you also want to consider: the reputation of the hospital, the way the hospital treats you, the customer care, how do they behave, how sanitary is the place, do they take care of the place, is the place dirty? You need to check out these things. You need to be sure about these things to avoid infections. For a place that is not clean, you never can tell. For a place where the staff are like a desicle, you never can tell what will be ignored and what will be neglected. Negligence is not far away from places like that. So you want to be sure you check out these things before you settle for a hospital. And then the reputation is important. Check Google. Google is your friend. You may want to do what we did, top 10 hospitals or top 20 hospitals, depending on what you want to do, how you want to do it. You do that, and then you also want to check the hospital in particular. You've done your first 10, good. The hospital falls within top 10 and all of that. You also want to know what people are saying about that hospital. Now, you're not going there for some heart-related disease. You're not going there for no, you're going there because you want to have a baby. So you want to know what other mothers are saying about that hospital. You want to know what fathers are saying about that hospital. People who have been there for antenatal, people who have been there for childbirth. You want to know what they have to say about that hospital, and you know how to do that. Google is your friend. You can also check Nairaland if you're in Nigeria. That will help you. Now, apart from the reputation of the hospital, apart from the customer care, apart from the neatness and whether they are negligent, whether they don't care and all that, you also want to be sure they have the necessary facilities. You never can tell. Anything can happen. There might be the need for anything at all. And then I've heard situations where people had to be part of the numbers, the statistics. Why? Because there was no oxygen. Because of oxygen, something as simple as oxygen. So you want to be sure the hospital you're choosing has these facilities in place, especially for a high-risk pregnancy. Do they have these things just in case anything might go wrong? It's not a prayer, but it can happen. So these things should be in place. Apart from the facilities, that you may be asking, what are these facilities? It's important. Do they have a neonatal ICU, a nursery, somewhere for children, just in case something happens for the baby? Somewhere for the baby where the baby can be taken care of. Without you having to be transferred to another hospital, the process, ambulance and all of that. Be sure the hospital has these things. And then for you also, do they have professionals? I mean, do they have specialists? I wouldn't like to go to a hospital where there are no specialists. I'm not the one who likes a hospital that has visiting specialists. No. I don't like them visiting. I like them being on the payroll. I like them being part of the staff. I like them being full staff. That's how I like my specialist. And when I gave birth, I had 3 specialists attending to me. Apart from my consultant, they were having calls and all of that. So whenever he wasn't around, there were other ones. I mean, about 3 of them attended to me while I was there. And my baby was also attended to by nothing less than 2 or 3 pediatricians. It's the norm, it's the standard. So you want to be sure they have that. Because I don't want stories that touch. A lot of times people go home and then come back 2 days, 3 days, 4 days after. Because the people who were supposed to do the necessary check, the professionals, the specialists, were not on ground to do the necessary checks. And so at the end of the day, they just had to come back because something was not detected early enough. Okay, so you want to be sure you have these things in place. The hospital you're choosing has these things in place. And then the next thing is, what's your birth plan? Do you want a private ward? Do you want a semi-private ward? What are the things you want? Do you want the process filmed? That's a desire. That's a birth plan. Do you want a epidural? Do you want elective surgery? What exactly do you want? Can that hospital provide it? If the hospital cannot provide it, then you have no business patronizing that hospital. I know not so many hospitals do epidural. Not so many hospitals do that. But there are hospitals who do that. There are hospitals that have specialists handling it. I remember I spoke to a doctor. The doctor works with a particular hospital. I just wanted to know what was obtainable. And then I asked him if they had room for epidural. He said they used to, but not anymore because the specialists were scarce. Yeah, he said the specialists were scarce and they didn't have anyone at the moment. The one they had traveled out to Japan. So they weren't doing it at the moment because they wanted a specialist for it. So you want to be sure of these things before you make your choice. And then finally, HMO. The hospital you prefer. Now, after you've done all the checks, the final one. Is this hospital covered by your HMO? If it's not covered, you may want to try another one. But if you sincerely and honestly feel that is the best hospital for you, then it shouldn't matter if it's covered or not. You might just pay out of pocket. Also, there are instances where you'll have to support your HMO. I didn't have to support my HMO because my HMO provided everything I needed. I mean, the hospital, perfect, everything check. So I didn't have to pay anything out of pocket. But there are situations where you also have to pay out of pocket. While the HMO covers some part, you also cover the other part. It's all about your comfort. It's all about how you want the journey to be. I wanted a seamless process. I wanted a beautiful process. I wanted a painless process. And I got it. I mean, I got everything I wanted. Everything was superb. Guess what? Right now, the experience I had I enjoyed every day I spent in that hospital. Is it the food, the quality of the food? Check. Is it the variety? Check. Is it the atmosphere, the ambience? Is it the staff? Check. I mean, it was everything I wanted. So I enjoyed it, and right now I feel like, can I go again? Can we hasten the process so I can go again and have that kingly treatment? Well, it's all about making the right choice for yourself, because the choice you make now will determine a lot of things. It will determine if you're going to be satisfied or not. So make the right choice right now. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe if you have not. I really don't know why you haven't. Now tell me. I want to know. Why haven't you subscribed to my channel? You don't have an answer, you see? So subscribe. I mean, just subscribe already. Thank you for watching. I am Perpetua Fasanmi-Peter. I do have a wonderful time with family, friends, and loved ones. Love from me, my husband, and our baby. Take care.